Yo, what is up? This is your boy Guru back with another video, and today we are in the EBR 90 yet again. And the reason why I'm doing an EBR video is because today I've been watching a lot of streamers play this tank, and there are various combinations of ways they play this tank. Some people are running this tank without vertical stabilizers, and instead of running vertical stabilizers, they are running it with vents. That's very interesting. So that's exactly what I did. I'm running this tank with vents instead of vertical stabilizers, and that's because with the vents, I mean, your dispersion is already 0.34. It's pretty good dispersion, and on the move it's like 0.07, which is really good. You're going to be shooting a lot on the move, and with 0.07 dispersion on the move, you basically have 0.34 dispersion all the time, whether you're moving or you're not moving. Even when your tank is traversing, your turret is traversing, you're still gonna have 0.34 dispersion, which means if you have like good crew, 4 or 5 skilled crew, it's better for you to run those vents, because you're gonna make a lot more use of those skills when you have those skill boosters with vents. Now, another thing you'll notice here, if you notice, I'm actually using a small gun. This is the tier 8 first gun. Now, a lot of good players, good streamers are using this gun as well. So I thought I'd give it a try, and I see why they are doing it. I've decided to use this gun as well, and that is because this gun is giving me APCR shells as standard shells. Now, of course, I'm not going to use standard shells. I'm going to use premium shells, because I'm going to get that penetration to 223 penetration, which is, if you're using the big gun, you're going to be using heat shells as premium and 230 penetration. So there's not much difference in penetration if that's what you're looking for. But what you do get in terms of the benefits is, when you are running APCR, you are going to get high shell velocity, which means 1163 shell velocity, whether you're on the standard shells or you're on premium shells. If you're running a small gun, they're both 1163 shell velocity, which means you're going to hit a lot of your shots because of that speed, that shell velocity. And to increase that, the chance of penetrating and doing damage, you're going to use premium APCR. So if you're not going to skimp on credits, you don't care about credits, use the premium APCR. It's going to get 223 penetration and 240 damage. It's going to be a lot more reliable than running the big gun with heat shells or standard AP shells, because those shells only do 850 shell velocity, which means you might miss a lot of those shots that you're looking for when you're looking for those shots. Of course, if you're using the big gun with the standard shells, which is the AP shells, it's only 185 penetration, but you do get APCR-ish velocity, because it is 1150 meters per second velocity on those AP shells if you're running the big gun. But the problem is you're only getting 185 penetration, so that's the drawback of using those AP shells in those big guns. So a lot of people are, I guess, experimenting with what kind of combination works best for them. But for me, I find that this is the best combination. Number one, you're going to run vents instead of the vertical stabilizer, because this gun is already so good in terms of stabilization. It's got really good accuracy and stabilization, so you really don't need vertical stabilization. Instead, give your crew the benefit of having extra skills, not extra skills, but boost up their skills with the vents. It helps with the handling of the gun, or the handling the driver skills, or the view range, or the camo rating. So that way your crew is going to benefit a little bit more. It doesn't really need vertical stabilization because it's already so good. So I'm going to run that combination of vents, rammer and optics in this tank, and I'm also running the small gun with full APCR, premium APCR instead of standard APCR, which gives me the 223 penetration. So shots like that still don't happen when you are using the auto aim, because you're likely going to shoot the upper plate of the 140, which means it's going to automatically bounce, and if I didn't bounce I would have finished him off instead of dying right now. Okay, so I'm dead, but let's go and have a look at another one of my teammates, which is also in the EBR 90, but he is running the big gun. So let's go jump straight to him and follow him for a second and see what he's up to. That's not this guy, this is 704. So this is the guy, and this is the big gun, and looks like he's just finished off one of the enemy tanks there, and he's going to be driving around looking for the enemy team. And this is what the big gun looks like, and the big gun is of course the what's the name of this gun? It is also the 90mm D921 that also does 240 damage with the same as the small gun, but it's got a little bit better penetration with heat shells. So heat shells, once again, slow velocity, which means when you're driving and shooting people, your chances of hitting people on the move is slightly lower than using that small gun with the APCR shells, which is why I'm going for that that combination right now. That's going to be working for me. The reload time is also basically the same. This bigger gun is going to reload just a tenth of a second quicker than the small gun. That's why there is like no upshot. You know, there's no downside in using the small gun, there is no upshot in using the big gun. It just makes sense to me to use this smaller gun. As you can see, he didn't make that shot down there, even though his aim time is slightly better than the small gun. It's got 1.26 seconds of aim time, which is like 1/20th of a second quicker than the small gun. In terms of dispersion, it has the same dispersion as the small gun. So there is, like I said, there's no downside in using that small gun. If you're not going to worry about credits and losing credits running full premium shells, you might as well use that gun. Also, the penetration for the HE shells, if you're into HE shells, because you're going to be juggling you're going to be juggling those shells when you're driving these wheeled tanks, because you have the, if I'm not mistaken, you're going to have 90 penetration on these on the HE shells. Whether you're using the big gun or the small gun, you're going to get 90 penetration and 320 worth of damage with 90 damage with either guns. So the penetration isn't so high like on the EBR 105, the tier 10 variant, but on the tier 9 you still get 90 penetration, which is not too bad. As you can tell, as you can see, I did a little bit better than our friend here, even though he survived a lot longer than I have. So I hope this is a nice video for you to have a little bit of insight on what a lot of the good players on EU, the streamers, the big streamers are doing. They're running the small gun and they're running vents instead of vertical stabilizers. So I hope this video is helpful to you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again on the next video. Bye bye.